And there's
always looking in the toilet.
That's why I'm always there, if anyone asks.
Yeah.
MCMANUS, thank you so much for joining us on Fwends.
Thank you very much for having me. Did I say very?
Yeah, but I enjoy. No, it read.
It wasn't intentional.
Oh, okay.
I think
Then-
I just
sometimes.
assimilated into what Kylan was saying.
Yeah, we drop into it.
If you could change your...
It's Kywin.
You wascally wabbits.
Kylin, Weiss, and Georgia.
And Wove.
Whoa! Welcome, Wove. This is delightful. Thank you for having me.
That's of course.
Now, for the listener, I am in shorts.
Yeah,
Yep.
you are.
I'm in very much outdoor.
You got the girls
attire.
out.
Look at them sweet gams.
Oh.
And fun socks. Which
And
is
fun
Where'd you get
A
those
little
from? Rhonda
treat.
Birchmore?
Oh, look, do we all remember where we were when Rhonda Birchmore slipped over at the Logies?
No.
Oh, I do.
Well, yeah, you were at the
probably
Logies, I imagine.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Front
There
row.
was a wonderful song and dance number. I can't remember what it was for. Not really important to the story. And
Instant coffee?
She took a right royal tumble straight on. Not even a tumble, like a
Rhonda.
slip, like doing a tap
A
dancing
white
thing.
royal wonder
A
tumble.
white royal stumble.
Oh, no. While dancing.
Yeah, right down onto her tailbone.
Oh.
Ouch. Oh, that's brutal.
Well,
And
that's all we
there
have
we
time
go.
for.
And these are the wonderful showbiz stories I've been sharing.
on to it now.
We've got what we needed. Thank you so much.
We do like to start the podcast by asking our guest or guest, Rove, do you think you are a good friend?
It is a wonderful question. I would say yes. I'm like many that I have the best of intentions, and I am trying now to get better at committing to things. So I don't
Okay.
want to be the person who says, "Oh, we must catch up." I will say, "Let's catch up," and then give you a very specific time and a date,
Yes.
or a day.
Yeah.
And then you tell me whether that works or not. And if it doesn't, we'll just pick the next one. Because otherwise, I find you just never catch up. And I feel better at least holding up my end of the bargain in that regard.
Did
That's
you?
good.
Was there a lot of that, like with the original kind of shows? Like you'd see a guest, you must be constantly like I hear from talk show hosts in America and stuff. They're always like, "We should get dinner," and it just kind of never
Yes.
eventuates.
Well, I have a friend, an American friend there. It's Jeff Probst from Survivor. It's not really that big a deal. But there's what do they call it there? Your house, my house.
Yeah.
So if you do someone's show, they will come and do your show.
Oh, okay.
So we had Jeff. Oh, no, I was asked to do Jeff. He used to have a daytime talk show.
Right.
I vaguely remember
There
this.
was a spate of daytime shows after the success of Ellen. It was him and, the Kelly Clarkson style sort of afternoon ones. So he had one. And I was invited to be on it because he was aware of me, which I didn't think was true. But they have a lot of Australian crew who work on Survivor. So he apparently had watched me in preparation for his show to maybe learn things. So he invited me on.
Wow.
And it
Cool.
was lovely to meet him. And his wife worked on the show as well, Lisa. And my wife, Tasma, who was also a Survivor fan, went, "Well, I'm coming to this show when you do it."
Okay.
So the four of us were backstage and they said we should go out for dinner because I think we'd all get along.
Yeah.
And we said, "Oh, well, of course, that's lovely." And Lisa grabbed me by the shoulders and looked me in the eyes and she said, "No, I mean it." And Jeff said, "Oh, yeah, when we say it, we mean it. So many people in this town will say to you, 'Oh, we really must catch up,' and no one ever does. And we promise you that we will do that. So let's..."
Follow through.
good.
And that's where I was like, we need to learn to be better at that.
Yeah.
It's like a famous LA thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But it's like this. You would find most people you catch up with, it's because you're doing a podcast.
Yes. And thank you for coming
And
today.
good to see you again.
It's so lovely to see
Yeah.
you.
But I will say, we asked you to do the podcast while drunk in a bar with you, catching up.
We were in a
So
social environment, first and foremost.
This conversation is great. We should sober up and monetize this.
How are you solving the? Are you diarising? You like setting a reminder to be like, oh no, I've said I'm going to catch up with this person. I will go. 'Cause sometimes I find it's simply forgetting that I said that.
Yes, absolutely. Certainly, being back in Melbourne at the moment when I'm living in Perth, I made sure my days were as clear as possible to catch up with people, and I at the moment do very much have in my calendar. At this time, I'm catching up with this person, or I'll just have a reminder set for that day. Even someone I know is coming to the show that night, so be prepared that we might be catching up afterwards. I had on my opening night, I knew Judith Lucy was coming, and so I completely cleared my night. My show is at 6:15, and I thought, well, I will need the rest of the night empty because this is going to get messy. And then I sent Jude a message on the day to say, like, are you up for a catch-up afterwards? And she said, no, I've got some other shows to go see and other things that I've got on. I'll just see you when we're back in Perth.
Some of your Nigel No mates.
So I had the whole of my opening night off, and it was actually quite wonderful. But I had cleared my diary just in case we needed to do a quiet little 8-hour wind down after the show.
Well, sometimes the friend we know most need to get in touch with is ourselves.
That's very true.
So you've got to catch up after an opening night.
Which I did. It was lovely. I don't very much get to do that often.
I feel like the diarising of the friends is it's a very advanced friendship move. Like, because when Georgia arrived, because she stayed with us for the first few days that she was here, and
Hi, I'm Georgia.
I saw over Georgia's shoulder a list of names that she had written down, and it was a very long list. It just had Melbourne up the top. And
My true nightmare.
And then it was just about 15, maybe 20 names of people that she'd like, okay, I am going to catch up with these people while I am in Melbourne.
And how have you gone with that?
It's gone pretty well. There's still, I know there's people right now that I haven't got back to, and I've got that sort of low hum of anxiety that you're like, I've got to get back to them.
I love the idea that this is now going out and it's weeks later, months later, and people are like, wait a minute. Do you sometimes find that when you are touring, as you have been recently with Bernard Fanning, do you find it's difficult because people know that you're going to be in town and you can't just slip in and slip out?
Yes. Well, and you would find this as well living in Perth when, and doing visits sometimes.
Okay, so we're completely out of this.
You've never toured, so you wouldn't understand. No. But sometimes it's easier to not mention that you're coming through, but then if there's a poster that goes
it's out of your control when it's promoted that you're going to be part of it.
If they don't know that you're coming, maybe talk to the publicist.
It's almost like you can't win, where you're like, I'm just trying to sneak into town unnoticed, but then if I leave unnoticed, it's just like, what do you mean you're not following what I'm up to? You should know that I was here.
Well, and the annoying thing about tour is that you just never have as much time as you imagine you're going to, because somehow the whole day becomes quite busy.
Well, you would be sound checking. Plus, you were on very early in the lineup because it's a long lineup of. It's like a festival. It was almost like a mini.
It's like a headline.
A mini. When Bernard introduced you, it was so.
Bernard Fanning opening for me. Yeah,
so lovely. But it was like a mini festival.
It was that particular day. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Because by the time you sort of get up, because in music we don't have the luxury of doing a festival where you play every night for a whole month in the same place. It was travelling to a different place every day. I've often thought that was a
luxury.
And then
like I'm luxuriating in being the most tired I've ever been in my life.
Well, we'll try travelling every day.
Not travelling, I know.
It's like the festival in general. And I know that we all understand that we're on the same page, but it doesn't make it any less difficult. That what you want to do is see your friends' shows and support them. But you also know you will physically see them around. So it would be good to maybe see someone that either you haven't seen before or you want to support.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be caught in a conversation where you're talking to someone and you haven't seen their show and you're talking about other people, or you're with another friend whose show you did see.
I know, but that's inevitable, isn't it?
That is that to me though. Having known you like for a few years now, like we see, that is the most Rove thing to say. In that you are worried about like, oh, these people have heard that I've seen another show. Like, I think that sums you up in a lot of ways. Is you are so interested in people and interested in
what they. I wish I could spread myself thinner in that regard. Like last night is a perfect example that we're at Comedy Republic. There's a lovely gathering of people, and there are people who I had seen when I was in last week as well.
Yeah.
But because it was my first night, I was maybe bouncing around a little bit. And this time I thought, I can sit and have a longer chat with someone who I hadn't spoken to in a more lengthy style from the previous visit. And then suddenly someone new turns up who I hadn't seen, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I just need to go catch this person before they disappear type of thing.
Yeah.
And then, yes, it's once it gets to the end of the night, you can properly sit and actually have a meaningful conversation, not just a quick, hi, how are you? How's your festival going? Good to see you. I have to go over here now.
Do you have, because you, I imagine, have done a few Melbourne comedy festivals by now, not to put too fine a point on it, but have you got a system? Do you like to approach each month, or each day, do you have a kind of routine?
No, I do have shows that I want to see, so I will lock them in.
Yeah.
And then obviously you leave a lot of room for, oh my gosh, have you heard about this show?
Okay, yeah.
And also, I tried to see as many shows as I could when people were in Perth, and then when I was in Adelaide, as much as people's shows might not be ready yet.
Yeah.
You get it.
We don't, but also we don't realise, you just go, I'll wait till Melbourne, or they'll say, come and wait and see when it's in Melbourne. But none of us realise, we're actually on at the same time as each other.
Yeah.
Or I'm at the other end of town, and there is no way I'm getting to your venue in 5 minutes. So that's my way of saying Pete Hellier hasn't come to see my show when I have seen his, so I think I'm a better friend.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
Well, the
interesting.
festival's kind of nice because you're catching up with all the sort of new friends and showbiz friends and all this, but you have moved back to Perth.
Yes.
And are you seeing some of those older friends? Do you remember who your first friend was?
My
We're in the
first friend.
format.
Well, my first friend, his name is and was, will forever be Shad with an S.
Wow.
Not a Chad.
Shad.
Shad with, yes, right.
Yeah.
And this is the reaction. This is what makes it so weird. So he was a family friend, and it was always...
And that birth certificate name?
yeah.
Was it
not-
Shadwick?
No, not short for anything.
Oh, just Shad.
So I grew up with my best friend because they lived close by and our parents were friends. We'd see each other all the time. But he was, I say Shad. I think he's the only one. Because then as I'm growing up and I'm hearing the name Chad, I'm like, that's weird.
Wrong.
And whenever I say to someone, oh, my friend Shad,
People,
you mean Chad? No, I don't. I mean S-H-A-D.
Well, they're all weird. They're all names
Either.
are just sounds. But Shad sounds like
Kyron sitting over
take
here.
Kyron,
Well,
for
sure.
Shad does sound like something a doctor removes by freezing it.
Yes.
Like it's a shad.
Yeah. It feels like it needs hanging. Before, it's a hanging
You
shad.
whack it with the Bible.
Yeah. So he and I were friends for many, many years, probably until we got to high school, and then we didn't really get to see each other as much. And then it wasn't long after that, when I finished high school, that I moved to Melbourne. But I've caught up with him since I've been back.
Yeah.
And it is one of those lovely things that...
Shad chat.
We had a Shad chat. But it was lovely. It was lovely to see him.
What were the stories that you're reminiscing about from when you were a kid?
My big takeaway from our friendship was his dad was a milkman for a while. And so when you'd sleep over his house, he would come back from his deliveries at the end of the day, and whatever was left milk-wise, we would get to drink it. So we would have all of the flavoured milk.
Oh, that's
And I was
cool.
the only kid who drank the spearmint milk out of all the flavoured milk. Yes, Reese, that's the face to pull.
I'm into it.
And because there was more of the spearmint milk, because no one liked the spearmint milk, even though it's a weird sensation of very thick liquid, and I've also just brushed my teeth.
Toothpaste.
It's a little menthol cigarette-y. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's kind
No,
of.
I don't.
Well, it's kind. I'd imagine because milk is so not mint flavored. It's so far away from it, and similar to you smoke a cigarette and you're like, "There's no way this could taste minty," and then somehow you're like, "Oh no, I'm brushing my teeth and getting unwell at the same time."
But also
Getting unwell.
any mint flavored anything that you would want to have, would you want it to be thick. No, it needs to be like it's a light tea, or it's a breath mint or something, or an actual peppermint
Toothpaste
leaf.
quite viscous.
Yes, but that's the other side. That's a proper solid.
And
dough.
you're getting a lather up.
so much lather.
It's not going in. In fact, if anyone, maybe you're running late or something, you're like, I don't think I have time to brush. I'm just going to put a bit of toothpaste in there. It's not good.
No,
it's
it's not. It's
like giving a
unpleasant.
dog peanut butter.
Well, I did another story that we reminisced about, though, which I had otherwise forgotten, was where we grew up. We were up the road from each other, but then our families moved houses, and we ended up still living near each other, but they were in one street and we were in the next street. But they were at the end of a cul-de-sac that had a pathway at the end of it that led into our street directly across the road from our house.
That's cool.
So we would go over to their house all the time, and there was one particular night that we were there, and I guess it's the 80s or whatever, but my parents did that thing of, well, we're still here having a good time. You can just go to sleep here in Shad's bedroom in his
The Shad
bunk
Shack.
bed, in Shad's shack.
Yeah.
But I woke, and then they said when they finished the night, because they're just across the road, they said to his parents, we'll just go home and we'll leave Rove here and we'll come back and get him in the morning. We'll just let him sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night going, this is not my house. I did not give consent to be left here.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I
How do I work this?
walked home in the middle of the
dead of
night
night.
to my house,
In the secret passageway.
came back, through the cul-de-sac,
Wow.
knew how to get through our back door, and went to bed, went to sleep in my own bed. So Shad's mother, shout out to Judith,
Oh, no.
the next morning
That's a Shad shout out.
has got a shout out. Shout out. A shout out.
Shout out.
I shout out a Shad out.
Yep.
He's got one. He got one.
Yeah, yeah.
So she's woken up to find the bed that I was meant to be in empty.
Oh, my God.
She has turned to Shad
She's lost
and
a
said,
child.
what happened? He's like, well, I don't know. I just woke up. What do you mean?
Shad shook his shed.
So she's had to call my mum to say, your child
Is-
is not here.
Has been abducted.
And then mum just thought, well, I'll just check before we start panicking too much, and looked in my bedroom, and there, sure enough, there I was.
Do you
tucked up in a
remember
bit.
walking home?
Oh, yeah.
Did you remember feeling like, oh, hang on, this isn't, I'll just confidently walk home, or was it a scary...
I think the backstory was I had a similar thing that had happened at my cousin's, where my parents just went, you could stay here. And I woke up the next day and was like, I would rather have woken up. I would rather be taken home in the middle of the night and put to bed in my own bed and wake up in my own bed.
Yeah.
So as I remember it, and my parents might disagree, it was, I didn't enjoy that and would rather that didn't happen again. So this time, it was me being quite indignant going, look, I warned you. Now I'm walking home.
I'm earning my name.
Oh, the little flap on the back of my long johns was probably, my little bum cheek was probably peeking out.
Giant lollipop. That's so...
I had to go back for my oversized bonnet, of course.
Yeah.
That's such a... That feeling, though, of being a kid when you have that, it's a little burst of independence almost, of going, what would happen? I'm fascinated to know how long the mum took from when she found out to when she called your mum. Was it like 2 minutes, 30 seconds, or like 20 minutes of like, okay, we've got to call the MCMANUS.
Yeah.
And do you get to the point, like, when you can't find your keys, does she start looking in the dryer and those ridiculous places when you run out of options
Have
and
we
you're
checked
like,
the pantry?
maybe
Yeah.
he's in the second drawer in the kitchen. Who knows?
Yeah.
But one of the benefits of having a friend who was not a school friend meant when I was at school, in my friendship group, especially in primary school, would say, which of us is your best friend?
Yeah.
I could say, again, in true Rove fashion, well, none of you, because my best friend I've known since before I came to school, and he doesn't go to this school.
And he goes to another school, actually.
Another school. Yeah, you wouldn't know him.
In Canada.
You wouldn't know him.
His name's Shad. He sounds real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that very common, everyday name, Shad.
Where did he move? The Republic of Chad. Are you still in contact
Yes.
with him?
Yeah. I texted him as recently as maybe a month ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
You get something out of a friendship that is that old that you don't from newer friends?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think there's something in the fact that I think we chose to be friends. Sometimes you don't choose to be friends. And I've said this to my daughter when she was sort of starting out and she was having what she called friendship fires. And I said, it's friendship fires.
Yeah, thank you. You've got to educate the children. Yeah.
I mean, you should have that adorable baby speak anyway. But I would point out to her, well, all my friends are, especially my closest friends, are all from comedy, from when I started doing stand-up onwards. Like it's outside of school. Or friends from when I was even in high school but doing acting classes and things outside of school. So I've made the point to her, the friends that you have in school, it's such a limited pool that you get to choose from.
It's luck
you
of the
shouldn't
draw.
be surprised.
Totally.
Or if you only have 2 friends, that's probably pretty good and better than most.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's real luck of the draw. You're just lumped in with a bunch of sort of 30 kids and you might not connect with any of them.
Well, I once tried catching up with the group that I was in high school with.
Yeah.
And I found that we all just got stuck reminiscing. We didn't have anything new to add.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Shad and I have new things to talk about. It's good to catch up on what we have missed it with each other. But he's a lot more of an introvert than I remember him being as a kid now that he's older, which is actually quite a nice, refreshing
Kind of
thing.
shadowy.
Well, our second...
Oh, my gosh, maybe that's what it's short for.
Shadow.
What if it's for Shadow?
That's a sick name.
But your name's Shadow and you go by Shad.
Yeah, you'd go
I like
Shadow.
that.
You know
I'm sorry. I do like your name. It's fine.
But
I'm
you
not
wanna say
teasing you about
DJ
your name.
Shad.
Yeah. Oh, please don't call me Shadow. That's only when I get in trouble with my mum when I let my friend walk out of our bedroom in the middle of the night. Shadow, what have you done?
Oh.
Do you think like that? Because I'm not really friends with my school friends anymore either, and I think it's been a little too long. I've tried catch up as well, and say with someone like Shad, he's continued to have full context for you the whole time.
Yes.
Whereas school friends, you move to Melbourne, you really fucking make something of yourself in quite a way, and then you try and catch up with those people. Do you think, I mean, I guess it's kind of a work question in a way, but does being who you are get in the way of those relationships?
Absolutely. Because I want to find out what they've been up to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Because
they
I
want to know
feel,
what Russell
to
Crowe's
your
like.
point, I've given them a
Yeah.
to your point, I've given them a pretty good cheat sheet.
Yeah.
But they don't want to talk about them, or they will be self-deprecating and say, "Oh, I'm not interesting," or "What I do is not interesting."
Which it often is like.
But they're right, it's not, and that's why I don't hang out with them. You're an accountant? Ugh.
But I've had people say, but like, oh, I don't do anything very interesting. And they literally like, I make robots do experiments on brains. You're like, okay,
paramedics.
that's, paramedic. Like we have a paramedic friend that never wants to talk about work, and not in like because it was traumatic kind of way. He's like, oh, you'll find it boring. It's like, and then his wife will say, you delivered a baby yesterday.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, mate, tell us about the baby.
Yeah.
In the car.
Yeah.
Like, but I think they just.
If we have a bad day at work, people don't die. I mean, metaphorically, we might. But
yeah.
The general populace is going to be okay. If someone like a brain surgeon is just not feeling it or has a rough gig, that's a very different result. Yeah. That's the gig.
If your brain surgeon does call it a gig, maybe second opinion time.
First red flag.
Did you go to school reunions?
I've never been to one. I have no desire to go to one.
Yeah. Is that partly because it would be a bit uncomfortable being like, well, hi guys, I'm on the TV.
It's twofold. It's that.
Yeah.
I feel that there would be too much attention at me, and also because there wasn't a lot of people there that I would have connected with.
Well, moving from being forced in with a group of people to making your own choices, who's your fastest friend?
This might surprise some,
Yeah.
but Sam Frost, who I did the radio with.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Sam obviously came from The Bachelor, and then she had an unpleasant outcome with her beau who chose her. And then, so she was brought back as Australia's first bachelorette.
Okay.
So I'd missed, I was living in the States, so I had missed the backstory. but had come in at the point where she was announced as the Bachelorette. And at that time, I was had signed to do a radio show, and we were looking for who the other person might be, and we were running through a list of names of potential people. And we were watching Sam being interviewed on the project to promote the Bachelorette coming up. And she was wonderful and self-deprecating and very sweet. And it was my wife, Tasma, said, how do you think she'd be any good? And I thought, we'll put her on the list. Who knows? Because I actually at that point had done whatever the radio equivalent is of screen test, but
a podcast,
a chemistry test or whatever. And I'd been on with I won't name names, but one friend who we all know. We'll talk about it later. But it was for what would have been commercial breakfast radio in Sydney.
Okay.
It was like the two of us were an old married couple having a lovely cup of tea in the morning over breakfast. Not what they wanted.
I would love that.
Another friend that I brought in basically went, well, I have to, I don't know why I'm putting that voice on, but...
so we know who it is.
But she said, I have to do things like promote Coca-Cola. Or say, things like that. And I was like, it's the commercial part of commercial radio.
Yes, pretty commercial.
She said, I don't know if this is for me. And I was like, that's fine.
Okay.
Sam came in and was wonderful and lovely and very natural. And we bounced off each other very well. And then when we got in to do the show itself, I think it's no secret to say that it didn't go very well. But also she wasn't treated very well by the people in there. Neither was I. But I had been galvanised by years of... I know what I'm doing, and please just stay out of my way and we will be okay. Or to me, you've brought me in to do this job because it's not working. So therefore, you want me to bring in my audience. So making me do what your predecessors did isn't going to work. It's just oil and water.
Rove, I think we've learned in the last few months, radio... executives know exactly what they're doing.
Of course.
All of the time.
Of course.
And sometimes you just have to chuck money at a situation and it'll go away.
And just... I described it at the time as being... It's like you're in a new relationship and you're really wanting it to work because you really like the person. And all they can do is talk about their ex. And you're like, well, I think you're still pining for them, and until you're ready to let that go, maybe you shouldn't be in a new relationship with anyone. So under those circumstances, it was rough on me, but it was really, really rough on Sam. That she got knocked around
because she's hopping into a new arena as well. Like as in... and if
as
it's not exactly right, people are going to... Because Australian media is a wonderful place. And
and I remember in one of the very... I think even the first week of doing it, and some stuff had happened, one of those air check things they call it. So you finish the show, and then they come in and they tell you what you did wrong. And as I once said on air and got in trouble for, someone who comes in who, if... the tables were turned and you got to tell them what they do wrong with their job, would not like to hear that.
Yes.
And that's when the writing was on the wall that we were about to finish up. But but basically, Sam should have just been Sam. And I should have just been me. And then much like our little chemistry test, it would have been delightful. But instead they're like, we need you to stop agreeing with each other. Stop liking the same thing. Stop laughing at each other. All this, and poor Sam is getting pulled this way and that way. And I turned to her and I said, just so you know, it's not always like this. It's not meant to be like this. I'm not enjoying this. And I've always enjoyed all of these things that I've done. So I said, no matter what happens from here on in, and this is still like the first week, the writing is on the wall. I said, I need you to know I've got your back. It's you and me against them. I will never turn on you.
And I have a plan.
Hold this. You'll know what to do. Put this capsule under your tongue and wait. So from that, I think it really forged, and to also to help us get to know each other better. My wife said she should come over for dinner at the house, and she met our daughter when she was just really little. And I saw Sam like the day after I landed here in Melbourne. We caught up. And it was really lovely. And it was even when we left, we told each other that we loved each other. And I think we've all sort of found, after losing Cal, which was very significant for all of us, I don't let it go unsaid anymore with people that I feel that for, because there is a very genuine affection and sense of protection that I feel for Sam as well, because sometimes I feel somewhat responsible for dragging her into the mess that was breakfast radio in Sydney.
Yeah.
So when she got out of that and into acting on Home and Away and did very, very well out of that, I felt I'm okay to step back from feeling like her protector, which was a weird thing to think at the time.
She wouldn't have necessarily gotten to that next thing though. Like, you know, I think having you look after her throughout that time probably got her to the acting gigs.
Well,
like
I hope
the hop from The Bachelor to Neighbours isn't necessarily, or Home and Away, I mean, sorry. That's not a clear line. But it's
That's true.
Learning. You were there watching her learn what she didn't want to do, which I think is important in this business as well.
Sometimes it's as important as working out what you do want to do.
Yeah,
sometimes to get there, you have to try the other things. You go, oh no.
And also, I think in showbiz, it's so meaningful when you have someone who's been around a bit longer and who's been through the wars, you know, before, to sort of be like, hey, I'm here, I got you, and you know, here's a bit of advice about this, and blah, blah, blah. Like it's because it's such a big sort of like, no rules, bit messy cowboy.
It's a hugely unregulated industry.
Hugely unregulated. It's like that's how you learn, and you know the community is formed. And did you have someone like that when you started out who was kind of like a bit of a mentory person?
Well, Bert Newton was. I have said that, which might seem odd because of the age difference, but he did become a friend to me as much as he was a mentor. And one of those people, the first time I met him, I thought, oh, well, he'll probably be a bit difficult or standoffish, and, you know, I'm the young dog in the yard, and maybe he doesn't like the fact that there's,
some people,
you know, the new shiny toy when he was still doing GMA and might have felt a bit protective of his turf.
Sure.
And so the first time I met him was for a photo shoot that we did when I moved to Channel 10. So they were like, oh, we'll get the new kid and the old guy together. And for a cover shoot for the Herald Sun lift out, which I still have now framed on my wall.
Love it.
Of Bert looking at the camera, me over his shoulder looking over my shoulder lovingly at him. And the title of the piece is Hair Apparent. Not heir apparent, but hair apparent.
Perfect.
Because it's Bert.
Yes, very good, very good. Very clever.
But I, with the tour that I'm doing at the moment, which is a retrospective of all of my mainly TV side of things, I make mention of Bert in the show, and it's really lovely how it gets a reaction when I show that particular photo that I'm talking about. I put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
And without saying who it is, I just say, that we shot a piece with, and I just say, this legend, and point to the screen, and up comes this picture of Bert. And it gets a lovely round of applause every night.
Yeah, nice.
And I extended the invite to have his wife, Patty, come to the show the other night, and she did.
Oh, wow.
And there's a small Q&A section at the end, and she put up her hand to not so much ask a question but make a comment.
Yeah.
And when everybody in the
feedback.
audience realised it was her, they all stood.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was so wonderful.
That's so nice.
And as I say in the show, but then about him and how giving and supportive he was, because the story is that we shot a sketch with him to kick off our season at Channel 10, and the executive, the manager who was in charge of the network at the time, said no to it because he saw it and said he didn't like it because it was a gag about us being killed off at Channel 9 and coming back, and Bert bringing us back from the dead. But I think it's because we were lying on these gurneys with toe tags that had our names on them with the Channel 9 logo that maybe he took offence to. But basically he was saying, I don't want people thinking that I'm just putting on a show that Channel 9 said no to, even though that's exactly what was happening. So we, having got Bert to say yes to the sketch, because obviously who else could resurrect you from the dead but the TV messiah that it is Bert Newton.
Yes.
So we had to sheepishly go to Bert and say, hey, thanks for helping us out with that sketch, but it's not even going to get used. And he wonderfully turned around and said, well, how about instead I'm your first guest on your first show? Which I need to make very clear, Bert did not do. You could not get Bert out of the Good Morning
I'm trying
Australia.
to think. I've not seen... I don't remember seeing him on anything else.
He never did. He never did. And so for him to do that was so
cool.
wonderful. And so I mentioned that in the show, and it was lovely to have Patty there to see that. I did give her a heads up that there is a mention of Bert in the show.
Oh, nice.
But as I said to her on the night, as I thanked her for her input, I do feel him there before the show most nights. I just sort of have a moment and I can feel his presence around, which is really lovely.
Yeah.
I'm sure he taught you a lot about television and hosting television, but what did he teach you about just being a person?
Just don't be a dick. Like, as I said, like if I had come in and he was a bit standoffish and he was in any way, I don't know, grumpy or whatever it might be, or just a bit short with me, or, maybe even if it was, we're doing the photo shoot, but Bert will shoot his shots and then you will shoot your shots and we'll put them together.
Yeah.
I would say, sure, fine. Or if you go to do his show and you don't see him until you walk on set, and then during the commercial breaks he says nothing, and then you say thank you, and then on camera he's wonderful, and then you'd leave.
Yeah.
There's still a part of you that would go, that's okay, because at the time he's probably 60, and he's been at it a long time, and he's seen it all, and probably doesn't suffer fools and doesn't have the time for chit-chat, and it would be absolutely fine. But the fact that he was the complete opposite of that, where he was very giving with his time. Sometimes he would call me after the show if he'd seen it or something. So I think I learnt from that because I quite respected and admired that he was so lovely and down to earth. I mean, I've tried to stomp out as many new people as I could.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
Because I thought it's lovely that he passed it on, but then
it ends
at
here.
some point,
Yeah.
the link in the
Yeah.
chain must be broken.
Every ladder's getting dropped down. You got to pull one up at some point.
Absolutely.
It's called
Absolutely.
snakes and ladders,
So
not just
many-
ladders and
the smell of
ladders.
so many bridges.
Yeah.
Burning. Burning.
I'm so glad to find that out though, because he is such a. I mean, he's one of those people that spread over a couple generations of childhood. Because I lived with my grandmother for a while, and if I was homesick or something, we would watch Good Morning Australia, and it was like, it's such a. I remember him interviewing so many different types of people, and whether you had you remember what's his name, the movie reviewer guy, this kind of older camp guy,
John Michael Hollywood House.
Yes, and I
He
was
would start
obsessed.
every review by pretending he was rolling a projector, cranking his arm, and he'd go da 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 da.
And the fact
That's
that-
the sound of Hollywood. I don't know what it was.
The fact that Bert would be chatting with someone like him, and then he's in the kitchen, and you got a sense of you're speaking to a full spectrum of people on this show that, if it wanted to be, could be shit.
And it was
but it isn't.
3 hours a day?
Yeah.
A day?
Oh my God.
Live?
And he was
3
funny and kind to everyone. He was never mean to anyone.
But he could take the piss,
Yeah.
which was great when
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
And he had his
John Foreman was 8 years old.
But he had his whipping boys. He'd had his
Belvedere.
yes, exactly, his go-tos
Oh
that he
my
could
God,
make fun of.
Belvedere.
Yeah.
But
It's
what
coming
you
back.
probably
Moira.
don't realise is
Moira.
in amongst all of that, when you would go on the show, you would sit there and there has been no, we would do pre-interviews. We would have producers who would call the guest beforehand or call their reps, and they would say, have you got any stories?
Yeah.
And, any anecdotes? What have you got that we could, ask about?
Yeah.
And so you always were coming with an arsenal. As I would say, it's you've got some conversation topics, but we're both grown-ups and we can sit and have a conversation, and then hopefully we don't need them.
Yeah.
But you didn't get that with Bert. You just
just
turned up.
chatted.
And I'm talking
Wow.
I've been on now multiple times, dozens of times, and you'd think, we haven't run out of things.
Wow.
And then you'd sit there, and on his screen, his little auto cue that he had on his camera,
Yeah.
I would have, in the old days, I would have a person holding up a cue card with bullet points.
Okay.
New show, maybe the title, a time slot, out now, whatever it might be. And then in future years, I just had it written. It was just a script that was written on an auto cue. Bert just had 2 words, intro, Rove. And he would
That's
sit there going
amazing.
just off the top of his head, well, he's from this. Never tripped over his tongue once, never skipped a beat, never repeated himself. Would sometimes work a gag in. I don't know if he sat
so
beforehand and
skillful.
worked it out in his dressing room or whatever,
Yeah.
or whether I think he was just that damn good at it.
And also just probably it seems like a bit of like a culture vulture, but like if he's calling you, like he's watching everything then. Like I
Yes.
think if TV is your life the way that it was for him, like, because if you're there, not the beginning of television obviously, but pretty early on in television and then you're watching it change, it would be fascinating to just be watching it all of the time. I
Yeah.
would not stop.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, you mentioned that some of your closest friends, or most of them, are from comedy. How important is it to have friends who you started doing comedy with, and still, to this day, to have all those old friends?
It's very important. I think they're some of the most grounded and galvanized friendships that I have, especially from the risk of jumping ahead too much on our list of Fwends.
Oh, yep.
But certainly they're
Spoiler alert.
the people
Yeah.
the people that you've been in the trenches with when you start. But I think it's also, I don't know if we all find this, but it's the people that you work with. I know you've talked about it on the show before, because of the dynamic of how you work in stand-up. It's a great. Not only does it build you up, it's like a team sport where everybody gets to win at the same time. But also, if you do, you all go down together. The competition side of it is there, but not in the same way that I know it is for actors.
Yeah.
Going for the same role,
Yeah.
it can be difficult. So I think there's just something about when you're all sitting there backstage. When I was working in the States, you could be backstage at a club. There was a club I used to work at that was at the back of a comic book shop. This tiny little room at the back of a comic book shop. Nerd Melt. It was fantastic. Meltdown Comics. And Robin Williams turned up one night.
Oh my God.
And he's just not wandered in, but he just turned up because he obviously just went, can I get up and do a drop in, just do like 5 minutes?
They were like, oh, we're full.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, you're
Sorry.
not booked. You're not booked.
Yeah, you've got to ring
Rude.
ahead.
Do you want to buy a Marvel comic?
Robin Williams doing 5 minutes,
But-
I'm sure.
But well, that's it. It didn't end up being 5, of course,
Oh my God.
and neither did any of us care. But then afterwards, he doesn't. He also is not dismissive of everybody, because he's like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, that was funny. This was funny. It's like we're all in this
Yeah.
together. So I think that breeds a certain type of friendship out of it. And even those people who you don't see that often, it becomes a very significant bond that you have. There's a certain thread that all these comedians have with each other. Some might be thicker than others, but it's still, we're all enmeshed in some way.
Well, before we jump ahead to Forever Friend,
Yeah.
what about Former Friend?
I thought you were going to do something with the threads. Like maybe what if a thread snaps or something?
I didn't think of the
Snappy
thread.
thread.
Oh,
Have you had a snap? Well, this is, I thought about this, and I think I would say it would be the person who I started doing comedy with, surprisingly. So his name, he's known as Duff. So we were Duff and Rove. And as we speak now, Fwends, it is the 40th International Melbourne International Comedy Festival. And my first comedy festival was with him for the 10th. So I moved to Melbourne in 95 with him, and we did our first festival together in 96. And I started performing with him.
Yeah.
So I had a friend who I knew from high school, actually one of the few people who I did get along with in high school and had kept a relationship with. And then when we finished high school, he and I kept in touch. And and then he went to uni, which I did not. I started working in a bar and in a bottle shop, drive-through bottle shop during the day. It's quiet as hell. So he said, oh, I'll just come in and hang out with you and keep you company. Oh, and by the way, there's this guy that I'm doing this course with at uni that I think you'd really get along with. He likes comedy. He likes talking about comedy the same way you and I do. And he brought in Duff, which is how I met Duff, who is from originally from Melbourne. So we all started talking comedy and thinking comedy and writing comedy, and then let's get out and do it. And so we started performing together. And eventually the third guy just went, this isn't for me. So it was just Duff and I together. And then he said, I'm moving back to Melbourne. And I went, well, I think I'll use that as a reason to come with and see if I can make a go of it in Melbourne. So we did together. And then we just got to a point, I guess, where creatively we started to, well, I guess maybe more for me, because I didn't know who I was on stage, or I never really thought about being a comedian as such. So I was just kind of
stage together.
Well, it was very like Leno and Woodley found objects. It was there was a lot of props. There was a lot of running around. We were very young. We're 24 years old.
Yeah.
So 23. So it was like, not even that. No, when we moved, it would have been I was 21.
Yeah.
So. So it was high energy,
Sketch.
sort of that middle ground sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The first gig we ever did, we did a sketch and very quickly learnt you don't do a sketch at a stand-up room.
Yeah.
Because they are very used to being spoken to, and a sketch puts out that wonderful invisible fourth wall, and the audience goes, well, what about us?
Yeah.
And then not only were they not listening, like death is silence, sure. We had talking.
Yeah, that's a different.
Silence, they're listening.
Yeah.
They do not like it,
Yes.
but they are listening. The audience just went, well, if you're in this crazy doctor's office, we'll be over here when you need
Chat
us.
amongst ourselves.
But yes, I guess it's probably more on me that as we started to develop, I started to realize, I think this is what I want to do as a comedian. And trying to work that into what we did as a double act was difficult. So we would do solo spots and then come back together every so often. And then we started doing less of the double act. And then we started just performing separately. And then he, I think, just stopped doing comedy for a while. He just basically disappeared.
Really?
And I hadn't heard anything of him for
You just lost touch.
lost touch. He was a weird cat, still is a weird cat anyway.
Okay.
So the idea of suddenly he just doesn't have email anymore, or he's changed his phone number. I think for a while there, it wouldn't have surprised me if he just went, I don't do phones anymore. I just don't believe in phones.
Okay.
Anyone who knows Duff knows he's a very unique individual. And then it was the strangest thing. The comedy festival, well, I don't know when, but pre-COVID, so we're going back a little bit. I was back in town doing a show. I saw Dave Callan from Perth, who was in Melbourne, and he and I were talking, and he knew Duff, and we were just sort of reminiscing a little bit about, look, here we are, the good old days. I went to, this is at the Hi-Fi Bar now, Max Watts. I was at, I went to the
Thank you for dead naming Max.
I went to the bathroom, and I thought I saw Duff.
A ghost.
I looked and went, oh my God, it's Duff.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about him. And it wasn't. It was just someone who looked
Yeah.
like him.
Yeah.
And then I went to the bathroom. I've gone back upstairs, and I'm not joking, within 5 minutes he showed up.
Whoa.
The actual Duff showed up. And he, myself,
Spooky.
and Dave Callan, who all started out together in Perth, just happened to be there. And I had not seen him in, I'm going to say, decades.
Wow.
And it was really lovely.
Was it a nice reunion?
It was a really lovely reunion because I
that's
thought
good.
it could have been potentially frosty.
Yeah.
And when we did go our separate ways, it wasn't awful. It wasn't a very awful breakup, but it was obviously not pleasant.
Yeah. Okay.
We were creatively not meeting in the middle, and that affected our personal relationship.
And then you had to.
So to see him again and for it not to be in any way awkward at all, whatever had come up before, not that it got really bad, but it was just lovely. It was really lovely.
Nice bit of closure on that as well. Yeah.
Yes, but I have not seen him since.
Yeah.
But it's funny when I come back to town. And
Looking
there's
for it.
there's
Always looking in
murmurs.
the toilet.
There's always,
Do you think
that's why I'm always there. If anyone asks.
Yeah. Everyone
Looking for Duff. That's
everyone.
why I'm
That's
here.
what they call the Logies bathrooms. We're just in there looking for Duff.
Looking for Duff.
Waiting for Duff.
Rove goes into the toilets and comes out and has a conversation with a friend from the past. Really?
All these wonderful friends like Shad and Duff that are obviously very real people.
Yeah.
But it's like there's legends of him. Like someone, it's like the Loch Ness monster. There was a sighting a couple of of weeks ago, or someone said, no, he's in town. I've seen him around during the festival.
Could it have been a hallucination?
Yeah, maybe I just spoke to someone that was just doing a great impersonation.
I'm Duff.
I am Duff.
Yeah.
It was like that scene from The Three Amigos, which is a very deep cut reference, but where maybe just that night there were a whole lot of people dressed as Duff running around the festival club just to throw me.
I like that he did send in a lookalike to like just check it out first. Like, is Rove in there? Did he seem spooked? Great. All right, I'll head in.
Was he okay? Did he try to swing at you? Oh, no, I will come in. Are
you content with a friendship that's sort of like, oh, that had its time and its moment, and I don't need to catch up, and I don't need to.
No, I don't ever feel. I don't think I've got any friendships like that where I wish I had another chance to go back to fix something or right or wrong. I was very pleased to say that should that be if I don't see him again for another couple of decades or whatever, or he just disappears into the ether, which is I happen when his mothership finally does come to take him home.
God, I got to meet this Duff guy.
His Thetan count is incorrect. So to think that's the last time we saw each other, as in the most recent, but if it is the actual last time, it's nice to think, oh, well, it's in a nice place. Which is good. So should I see him again, I know, it would be lovely to see him.
Do you think that's something you've gotten with age? You are not an old man by any stretch, but you've been around for a while, and it's... Because I think that is something that I yearn for, of like to not be thinking about like, oh, I should have done that like that, and like...
Do you yearn for that? Do you have... Many regrets?
I think I just... I still am I think it's a thing that will come with age, hopefully, I'm told, is a comfort with how things have ended with things.
Instead of guilt.
And a more contentment, I think is the word that you used, of like, do you think you had to learn that, or do you think you've always kind of been like that?
I think I've always been that way. I'm annoyingly glass half full is the way my wife puts it. She's like, you're annoyingly glass half full. Because I guess I learned from my mum, and this is in adulthood now, that I don't know what the situation was, but there was a person who, again, maybe I've been trying to catch up with, or, we must catch up and we haven't caught up, or all that sort of stuff. And I was feeling bad about it at the time that I hadn't seen them, or, I think it was maybe while I was in Melbourne, I've come back to Perth, didn't catch up, and I've left again. And I was like, I feel bad because I didn't sort of reach out. And Mum made the point of, well, have they reached out to you? Like, it's also, it goes both ways. So if you text someone and say, let's catch up, and they say, yes, we really must, and then you say, what about this time? And then they don't get back to you. Well, that's not your fault.
You've done your bit.
Yeah. Not to say, well, so long as I've done my fair share, I won't, I'll meet you halfway, but no further.
Yeah.
And then this is not on me.
Yeah.
So, but that made me realise, I don't have to feel...
Yeah, exactly.
Bad that if a catch up isn't always on me, or a relationship isn't always on me if it works or doesn't work. But I think just because there was this creative side to a relationship there, I think it was more that side that. Not that it needed to be mended, because we're not doing a reunion tour anytime soon. Yeah. Although what is interesting is
the Palais. It's Rove and Duff.
It must have been after I did my first solo tour. It probably would have been, but I was in Adelaide, and I saw Duff in Adelaide, and I was with my then girlfriend who knew of Duff. And as he was coming up, I said, I'm sure as we're chatting, I've said, this is Duff, who I used to...
Chatting.
Work with. And then we were chatting, and just a quick, how's your show going, and blah, 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 blah. He leaves, and my girlfriend turned to me, and she said, I can see no world where the two of you are performing on stage together. What was that? How did that ever work?
That's so funny.
So I guess it was a different time.
Well, I guess hopping from how did that work? Is this the transition? I think I'm doing a transition.
You're very good at this. Take a breath. Here it comes.
The stakes have been raised.
Here come the gears.
Going from how did that ever work to, I guess, I was about to say, how is this still working? But this is going so badly. You know what? I had it clear in my head, and then I said, I'm doing a transition. Forever friend.
Did you look up at the auto cue? All I said was do transition.
Do transition. Do transition. And then I just made an appointment at a clinic, and I'm going to get some beautiful breasts put on.
Well, I think it's probably... well, actually, no, I was going to say obvious, but it's probably not as obvious as you would think. It would be Dave Callan. Dave Callan, who I have known for almost as long as I've been doing stand-up, and almost one of those instantaneous friends, a fast friend as well. So I had, we were all performing in the same club in Perth. It was Duff, of all people, who had been at the show the week before and said, this new guy has just got up and done his first spot. And it was incredible.
Hello.
Yeah, it was incredible. Well, the bit that Dave did was, the premise was he was so nervous about performing in front of the audience, he would wear a blindfold so he couldn't see everybody and be more relaxed, which is an incredible concept to put out there.
At that age.
For your first ever stand-up gig.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then, so I went, well, I have to go see this. So the following week I went along. I think we were performing anyway, and he got up in the open mic section again. And I just went, oh, he's hilarious. And then, as it so happened, he turned up with a Warner Brothers Tasmanian Devil T-shirt, and I was wearing a Daffy Duck T-shirt. Like the exact same line of clothing. I just had the Daffy Duck version and he had the Tasmanian Devil version.
Cute.
And I think like two school children, we looked at each other and went, we're going to be best friends. And yeah, he's one of those people even if I don't get to see him that much, he's always there for me. And there are a lot of times where it's all just silliness and daft voices and ridiculous text messages and sending each other reels of birds doing silly things on the internet.
Bird pornography. You're talking about bird.
My algorithm is quite skewed. But then there are times when I've needed him and he's been there. Or I've needed a shoulder to cry on and he's been there. Yeah. And he's just had my back when you're not asking for it. Even when I was back, I moved back to Perth during the pandemic, and I did a few gigs and sort of got the love of stand-up back. And so I decided, I think I'll put a new show together. I got up to do a spot, and there was an earlier show and a late show. And Dave he just came along to watch. And I did my first spot, and it didn't go well. And it was kind of on me. I went way too fast. You know, it's new material. We all rush it. And I think then I just got loud to try to help.
You've studied the Nicholson method.
And afterwards, it quite clearly did not go well. And I was not feeling great. And he just, as a perfect friend would, just went, do you want to go for a walk between shows? And I said, that would be great. And then we went for a walk, and instead of saying the cliche, well, so how do you think that went? Which is, you know, showbiz talk for you just ate a shit sandwich.
Yeah.
He beautifully said to me, I feel that maybe didn't go how you had hoped it would go. And I said, yes, you're right. And then I went, well, but it's because I did this and I did that. And he said, no. He said, you just came in at speed 10 and then they just couldn't catch you, is how he put it.
Yeah.
And so I did the exact same set and just took a breath in the second show, and it was all fine after that. And just wonderful advice. He's one of the few people who I will take notes from. I'm not someone who is open to notes from people. It's like you will always talk about after you see someone show, I like this, I like that. But very rarely would I say to someone, I think you should change this. But I
special relationship.
Respect his opinion. And so he's.
How helpful was it having someone like that on Rove Live? Like, because he would have been there.
Well, yeah, he was like
from the start.
Like Pete was an anchor. Pete was always an anchor. It's only just that I haven't known Pete as long by a few years.
But I wouldn't describe Dave as an anchor. like in a live television situation.
No.
I don't necessarily.
Dave
mean
is the rudder that sometimes you go, where is that rudder?
Yeah,
We don't
I took
have
it
a
off the
rudder.
boat.
We don't need a rudder.
I don't necessarily mean on screen. I mean like through the. I'm sure there's trials and tribulations in behind the scenes and like EPing that show as well and being. And going from network and here and changing this and doing that. And
Well, it was
to have like an old friend like that along. For the ride.
It was lovely to feel those pinch me moments that we all have, but with someone who had been there the whole way as well. So even at the start when I signed to Channel 9 and they said, what the plans were for the show, and I thought I want to have some other people on. And so I knew it would definitely be Pete because he and I have been working together on Channel 31. Corinne Grant was there as well. And I just went, I want Dave on there. He has to be. He always made me laugh. And I don't know, I just felt like maybe it would just help me feel comfortable. So he got the call from me saying, if you can get yourself to Melbourne, there's a TV show I want you to be on. And so it was... And we got to have so much fun and to have a real, you've been there from the start, day one friend along for the ride, just made it all the sweeter. Absolutely. But yeah, I hope I've never sort of really played as boss. I've never ever liked it. They all think it's funny. Every time I would go on the project and they'd say, oh, the boss is here. I do not like it. I do not like it.
Well, that must be complicated a little bit, like you having... friends where you are,
which is why they're all fired now.
Yes,
I got so sick of it, Georgia. I just said, this is your attitude. You're all out.
Yeah, you are ruthless.
That's it.
Yeah,
this is why you can't have a show.
Yeah,
It's exactly this reason.
Well, actually, at Comedy Republic.
I'm sorry about this.
At Comedy Republic, Reese is actually HR.
Yeah, we call I every Christmas party I say, and everyone remember I'm HR or Homo Reese as you're allowed to call me, and I'm always there as a kind of you don't want to go to HR because there's no one to complain to after that, but probably some bad stuff is going to happen at HR. So everyone gets a little back rub when they come to HR, of course. But we have to fire those people as well because they know too much now.
Has it been complicated at times, or have you ever had to navigate sort of working with friends and maybe dealing with competition or with creative differences and how to maintain a friendship, especially an old
EPing
one,
is
which
hard.
is precious.
Yeah, well, I didn't have to be as much of the hands-on EP, so I would just steer the ship creatively.
Yeah.
And had a producer credit as the person who was just making it happen. But the day-to-day was Craig Campbell, who's still with me now as the EP of the company. So
he's in the room with us right now.
He's lurking, Duff-like, in the corner. So he would do all the, having to sit people down and would help be the buffer, I guess, between me and everybody else. But when we started, because we were all in it together, the reason the show was called Rove, I wanted to call it, my initial title for the show, because we were on at 11 o'clock, it was going to be called Too Late.
Right.
And then...
It's good.
That's really gotten me.
Yeah. Based on all that sort of late tonight motif. And then we did
Too late.
We did a not even a pilot. It was just a test show.
Yeah.
And then when it came to doing the pilot, it was just when people were asking, "What are you working on?" Everyone would say the Rove pilot. So it just to save money on opening titles and music and all that kind of stuff for the pilot.
Yeah.
We just had the word Rove just came up in lowercase font. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And then as we watched it back, it was Craig who went, that looks really cool. Like all lowercase. Yeah. Just the word Rove just is something striking about it.
Yeah.
Because I thought we would be more like a D-Generation thing. There was like the four of us.
Yeah.
I would have the hosting role, but then everybody was involved in this wonderful halfway between sketch and live in what we would do. Like we did a bit where we came back from a break and I started to introduce the next section of the show. And Dave said, sorry to interrupt, but I was just hoping I could just promote this Beard for a Day campaign I've got for people who can't grow beards. And then Pete said, hey, actually, now I mention it, now I think of it, Rove, Dave did a fundraiser last week and you weren't there. And then we start cutting to all this, where were you at the Bearded Day egg and spoon race or the best bearded baby competition? We cut to, like you would do on Family Guy or The Simpsons. You just cut to this random shot of a baby with a fake beard on, which was an actual baby with a fake beard. Now you do it with graphics. And then that turned into me saying, and then Dave's like, hey, and where's your fake beard like you would wear for Red Nose Day? Where's your fake beard to promote Beard for a Day? And I went, I can't remember. I don't know. And then we cut to just a shot that said Rove's office, and there was like a hidden camera that you could see there was a fake beard in my bin. And Dave got offended, and then I confessed it's because I can't grow a beard, and I got upset and I left the studio. And then he came and chased me, and we cut to a pre-record of what is like this US soap opera telenovela thing. It's all smoky and I'm over the top with my tears because I can't grow a beard. And he says, oh no, Rove. And he said, it's okay. I've brought our good friends Tripod to sing a song about it. And they wrote, it was bizarre. So for me to go, it's a talk show and I'm the host is not what it was. It's not what it was.
Okay. Wow.
So to have Dave be part of that, all that, like, it was Willy Wonka's chocolate factory without the death. It was so wonderful to have that experience with that group of people, and one of them be your best friend in the world was a very special time.
Do you think you facilitate, like, I've noticed throughout the chat that we're having, you do make, like, within your friendships, and it's kind of what makes a good producer as well. Do you think you produce kind of your friendships in a way? Like you bring groups together.
Maybe. That's a good point. I was talking to Stephen Gates last night. I'd spoken to him, then he went out for a bit to get something to eat, and then while he was gone, I saw AJ Lamarck, who I have met in Sydney, doing a wonderful show at the moment. So I was just asking him, I know how it's going. It's selling out. It's been very successful. And we were just having a chat, and that sort of led to a longer conversation, which was really lovely. And then Gatesy came back, and I have introduced AJ and Gatesy, and they were both like, so you're doing a show? Yeah, you're doing, and I'm trying to do AJ's got this wonderful, and Gatesy from Tripod, but also now doing so many wonderful independent things on his own. And I sat there and just went, oh, wait, you two, stop. All I need is one word, Hamo. And the two of them went, okay. There we go. Because that's how I met AJ through Justin Hamilton, and who's very good friends with Stephen Gates. And then they both went, so how do you know? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. And suddenly it was this.
And then you can put on your hat and your jacket and walk out.
It was like a secret Masonic handshake. The name Justin Hamilton. I was hoping for a trap door where I could just disappear, lower myself. I just did that old elevator joke where you pretend you just squat down. Yes, I guess Reese is the answer. I probably do.
We had the lovely Ryan Shelton on the show a little while back, and he was talking about being friends with Hamish Blake and starting out at the same time, but then sort of watching Hamish's career go, like into the stratosphere. And
they went to school together.
Having to navigate that a little bit. Have you had, do you think, and this might be a bit of a weird personal question, but have you sort of, from the Hamish sort of side of that, had to navigate friendships with comedy friends who you've started out together and then you've kind of had the biggest show in the country?
Duff notwithstanding.
And then had to sort of like...
Well, I don't know. From my perspective, I don't know. But it's hard for me to say because it's probably from the other person's perspective. I'd like to think, like in the case of Duff, he got a job writing on Full Frontal.
Oh.
cool.
Before I was doing anything, as far as I was still doing Channel 31, and he's now paid to be a writer on a comedy show.
Yeah.
And when that was wrapping up, I remember saying to him, "Well, what are you going to do next?" Mm-hmm. He said, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it." And I said, aren't you sort of thinking like while you're in, you should maybe do like see what other writing jobs are out there? Like, what is everyone else doing? And he said, "Oh no, I'll just sort of see what's out there because I don't know if it's writing." And I seem to recall him saying, and I don't know if this is telling tales out of school, but as I remember it, he said, "I don't know, I might just like go become a gravedigger because that'd be an interesting job to have." And I truly believe he meant it. Like, I've done this, but I don't. And he was never one to be. I say was. He's not one for being that ambitious. It's about the art. It really is for him. He would rather just I had to constantly fight with him to go, we should do that joke a second time. That routine works and it's funny. Yeah. We should do it next week. And he would say, but everyone's seen it. We should do something completely new.
Yeah, wow.
Which is, I will say, something I have taken from him. I think refreshing your material and trying to be as prolific as you can is important.
Yeah.
But so too is honing what you do have. There's a happy middle ground.
Yeah.
So I think for him, he's very happy doing whatever he's doing wherever he's doing it. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
For whatever I don't know about what he's doing, I know that he will be happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Because otherwise he wouldn't be there. With Dave, for example, I don't know, but I think maybe because we started out together, and maybe it's a question for him, I'd like to think I'm not that much different from... I have a much bigger house, but he's allowed to come over and play with my replica R2-D2, so it's okay. So I think it's okay.
Can I come over and do that?
Yeah, of course,
that's awesome.
Anytime.
I also think something about like having watched, I was pretty young when the first show was on, but you can see, sorry.
Someone's got to bring you back down to earth.
But you could even see from then that you are someone that is plucking people and taking them with you. Like, I think that that feels like a big part of the Rove McManus mechanism and the Rove McManus kind of ecosystem.
I miss the most about doing anything is that I don't have the ability to say to someone, "You're really good, come into a stand-up spot."
But with everything you've got, like even like who there's like people you are meeting new people and looking after them, and then also bringing people from community. You're building a community.
Well,
and it must have been nice,
That's like a compound, right?
Yeah,
like a compound.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
How big is this house? How much concrete?
Tell me more about the secret bunker.
Oh, it's Perth. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And it must have been nice because, like you say, a big part of Rove was that it's like platforming people.
Yeah.
So you get to help people, have a break, which is really fun.
But I also think what I love about with Dave is I don't think it's intentional in that I don't have to be consciously aware of it to stop myself from being the monster I could be if I chose to. But certainly having him still as the friend, I'd like to think he's never had to keep me in check.
Yeah.
I don't recall him ever having to say, "Hey, pull your head in," or "Hey."
Yeah.
And I'd like to, and I hope that I'm self-aware enough of what I have and what other people maybe don't under certain circumstances with things, especially, how things are now for people financially and stuff like that. I was at a time where I had success when you could make money from this business.
Why? What's happened?
I walked all the way here from Perth, and I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But I still think, it's nice for me to, again, have Dave as well. Maybe he is an anchor in some, maybe more of a sea anchor, one that kind of has a bit of ebbing and flowing, and we text each other or message each other all the time just to say, "Where are you?" Or we'll send pictures of. His nickname for me, we can't go into the backstory. It's too weird, and I don't remember.
Convoluted.
But his nickname for me is Spiral, and my nickname for him is Choco. And so if ever we're out and about and we see anything with either of those words on it, we will send it to each other.
Cute.
So, for example, when I was in Adelaide for the Fringe Festival, there's a banana stand, a frozen banana stand. And so, of course, the sign is Choco, because you can get them dipped, Choco Nana. So I took a picture of that and said, it's lovely to see that your grandmother's doing a show in Adelaide. And then he will send me various ones. That's our little back and forth.
Cute.
And then every so often he'll just say, where are you now?
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. There was one time he said, he sent that to me. I said, I'm in London. And he said, I'm in London too.
Oh, God.
I was there with my wife and daughter, and he came with us to go and see Wicked on the West End, and then walked back with us to where we were staying, and then the girls left, and he and I went out, and he took me to an incredible arcade bar, and we got very, very drunk until the wee small hours. It was a wonderful time.
That's
So
nice.
he's travelling a lot, I'm travelling a lot, and we just try to tick off as many far-flung places on this planet as we can to catch up with each other.
That's awesome. Well, one more indulgent Rove question, and then I promise we'll actually let you go and have your afternoon and your day off.
And put some long pants on.
No, I think shorter shorts.
Yeah, keep the pins out, baby. Have you ever made friends with a guest who's come on Rove?
Yes, quite a few.
Have you? And how do you
Yes.
cross that line?
It's...
Georgia
yeah.
wants to be friends.
Is it okay to ask to be friends with someone who is a guest on your show?
Yeah.
It's interesting how you get to the point of, like, how do you all feel about when you use the term friend? Because I find sometimes, especially here in Australia,
is
and
the
as a male, you will say mate first sometimes because you're not sure. Can I say, are we friends? Are we colleagues or whatever?
Well, and in showbiz, you have lots of people that you see a lot, and that
You're friendly with.
You're friendly
Yes.
with, but and maybe it's in a lot of kind of professional contexts. But then to cross that next line, especially if there's a bit of a slightly confusing sort of status or something,
Yes.
which I hate the idea of. But it's quite hard.
Well,
to
we
work out
have
how to do it.
friends who, when we leave their house, my wife and I will look at each other and still go, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
oh my god."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They asked us to. I know, and I know.
Yeah.
But that's exciting.
And then try to be cool about it, so that when you're with them,
Yeah.
they are treating you as if you're just a friend.
Totally.
But they're also very aware that they are incredibly famous, and
Right.
they get it. So yeah.
Would you be like, at the end of a show, like, oh, hi, would you actually like to
It was honestly
have a coffee
only
sometime?
in the last few years of doing the show. For people here in Australia, it's just you'd see them. They would come on the show.
Yeah.
And then maybe next time you would be out and about there were a lot more functions that everybody went to, or you'd see them at the Logies or something. You'd go up and
Yeah,
say
that's
hi,
true.
and so that would maybe keep some of those relationships going a bit more.
Yeah.
But for internationals, it wasn't until we moved to the Sunday night, because I think around that time I started to go to Los Angeles a bit more. And what had happened for many years were guests would always say, if you're ever in LA, let me know. And I was never in LA, and there was no way of letting them know. So it would become a thing of like, oh, well, okay, sure, well, how should... And then they would say, well, I'll give you my number. And sometimes I would get numbers, but then I was never in the States to use those numbers.
Yeah.
Is that why you called the show Rove LA, so everyone knew that you were in LA?
Yeah, it was very clear.
Yeah.
And,
It's like,
and then my
guys, I'm
phone
here.
number was
Yeah.
underneath.
Yeah.
So I think when you get an email or a phone number, or someone who
Yeah.
you've just been DMing with will just say, hey, it's easier just to send me an email or a phone number.
That's fine.
I sometimes give them my number in a DM. It's like, this is my number, by the way. And
Yeah.
then it's up to them.
Yeah.
Like, as in, if they want to text me directly, that's fine. Or I'll never hear from them again.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say this, for all the contacts that I would have in my phone, none of them have come from every episode that we did on the show. I would hand write a little thank you card to all the
that's
guests who
nice.
would come on. Just, some more personal than others, depending on who it was.
Some have
And it got to a
drawings.
point where I thought, what I should also do, especially for the internationals, is say, hey, thanks for coming on the show, blah, 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 blah. And then at the bottom, I would put my email address as a, it's just there.
Yeah.
No one ever took me up on it. So anyone, and some of those people I do have contacts for, but I got them from them directly, not from them just going, oh, hey, got your email off your thank you card.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess in some respects it was like, I stopped doing that maybe after, but it took way longer than it should have. Way longer than even 5 years of just keep fishing. You're gonna reel one in. Surely, all it takes is one to justify this long, long game.
Totally. Oh, amazing.
Well, I think probably for our generation, it's probably I think one of the most surprising people to have become friends with, having grown up watching you on television, is you, Rove. But I think now that we are friends, it feels like the most natural thing.
Well, that's very nice.
You're so kind and generous to the next generation.
Well,
and it's very kind and generous for you having come on the show.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rove. Thank you, Rove.
Thank you.